the NFL opens up tomorrow with Chiefs versus Patriots. And I thought it would be a cool idea to do some NFL weekly picks. Not necessarily a creative one, but hey, might as well just do it. And a quick shout out is to Shaun D. Now, Shaun was this guy who recommended me this great website that basically you get the pick which NFL like teams you were going to win this week and all that. Click in the link description if you're interested. And the shout out is to Shaun Diebel. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your last name, but we all know who you are, Shaun. You're the one with the Deion Sanders and when he played for the Atlanta Falcons as your YouTube profile pick. So we know who you are. So kudos to you and thanks for the great advice to use this website. So if you're interested, links in the description. So let's get started with the weekly picks. So to start off, I decided to do off with the first game of the year, Chiefs versus Patriots. Now, it's pretty hard to beat New England in Foxborough. It is. It's pretty hard. The Chiefs, they aren't the Seahawks. They just weren't. They're not the 2012 49ers. So I really got New England winning this game. I believe Bill Belichick has a very good record with home openers. He's been prepping for this game forever. But also, Maurice Jones-Drew says Andy Reid's pretty good when coming off of that too. So it's still going to be an interesting game. However, I think that the Patriots could win by 2 scores even though with the injury of Julian Edelman, because I really feel as if you could put Brandon Cooks right there in the slot because he's had played in the slot when he played with the Saints. And also they can use that Rex Burkhead guy who looked as if he was showing some flashes in the preseason. He could be put in the slot, or you could put in Chris Hogan, who they found out a use for him. But overall, I got the Patriots winning that game. Next, I got Bengals versus Ravens, and I believe I picked the Ravens in this one because I just look at the Ravens. I think they're a more menacing team. I think the Bengals, they're just a little bit too soft for my liking. I think they're a very talented group of people, but ideally they just need to work on their mentality. Next, we got I got the Bills over the Jets. Now, when it comes to the Buffalo Bills, a new coach in Sean McDermott, it's definitely a team that's investing in the future, but the Jets are investing into the future even more. Yes, we're talking about a potential 0-16 season, and I think that is quite possible. And I think the Bills, they do have some talent around them, and I'm going to pick them to beat the Jets. I think that's a pretty obvious one right there. And then I got the Steelers over the Browns. Really enough said. I think I really enjoyed watching the Browns draft. I thought they did a very good job. Even though I'm not a big DeShone Kizer guy, he looks like he showed some signs in the preseason. So I still think the Browns could at least show a product on the football field. However, I'm going to put the Steelers in this one. They're just so freaking talented, and it's hard to put against them, even when it's at Cleveland. Next, we got the Texans over the Jaguars. Now, the reason why I'm picking Houston in this one is because I got a lot of respect for Houston. I think that front seven is really, really good, especially when you're going to add in J.J. Watt. Even without J.J. Watt, that's a really good front seven, and that's a menace right there. Leonard Fournette's going to have some problems back there. Same thing with Blake Bortles. He already has an accuracy problem. He's going to be gunslinging. He's going to be throwing picks that game. I got the Texans this one. Next one, I got the Raiders over the Titans. Now, the Raiders and the Titans are the two probably most interesting teams in the league, or probably one of the more anticipated teams when it comes to teams that usually haven't made the playoffs in a while. I know the Raiders made it last year, but they're freshly new. Very young teams, and they're battling each other out on this first week of football. And I think that will be pretty cool right there. And I just got to pick the Raiders just because Derek Carr, I freaking love how he plays, and I really just love the Raiders roster. I think their defense still needs some work, but the defense has some freaking talent. You got Khalil Mack back there. That's a top-tier pass rusher. And the Titans, yeah, they got some talent, but it's going to be pretty hard for the Titans to beat the Raiders in the Coliseum. It's going to be really hard for them, but I still think the Titans, they could still make it for a playoff push, but I got the Raiders in this one. Next one, I got the Broncos over the Chargers. Now, the Broncos are a team that I look at that they have a really good defense, but obviously we all know their offensive woes. However, they improved on the offensive line. They drafted this first-round pick on Garrett Bowles, or Bowles, whatever his name is, and then they got Donald Leary. And when I look at this, the Broncos definitely did start off well. And Simeon ain't awful. They just need to make plays out there. However, it's going to be really hard for the Chargers to kind of get something going here because you're facing against a top-tier defense right there. Now, I got the Rams over the Colts. And now this is the reason why here is because the Rams have Todd Gurley and the Colts have a terrible run defense. And I thought that they're just going to run right over the Colts. And not only that, Andrew Luck's hurt. They just traded for Jacoby Brissett. So I'm really not expecting great quarterback play right there. They don't got Matt Hasselbeck. So I really don't see the Colts win this game. If they do, kudos to them, but I can just picture Todd Gurley just running right over that defense. Now, next one, I got the Panthers over the 49ers. I think this is pretty easy. I really, really do like Kyle Shanahan. I do. I think he has something right there. I just think that the team's just not in a position to win right away. I got them going 6-10. Some people got them going 2-14. I have a little bit more faith in the 49ers than most people do, but however, I still think the Panthers are right there, and the Panthers could have a bounce-back season. Yes, sirree, they could have a bounce-back season. I mean, that team still has some talent right there. Even without Josh Norman, I'm still impressed by what the Panthers have on their roster. I think it could still play hard and all that, so I really got the Panthers this one. Next one, I got the Falcons over the Bears. I think the Bears, they're just simply just not talented enough to face against the Falcons, and I think Mike Glennon, he's just not good. He's just not that good. He might be Brock Osweiler 2.0. And that Falcons team, who have really high hopes for this season, or the defense to be more specific, I really have high hopes for that defense because I think that defense is going to take it to the next level. And I just feel as if that the Bears just kind of just stand no chance in this one. Now, the next one, this one might be considered an upset, but I got the Lions over the Cardinals. Yes, sirree. Now, the Cardinals were a team that a lot of people thought was going to go to the Super Bowl in the NFC. A lot of people thought that, but I just think to myself, I'm just not a Carson Palmer guy. And they just lost Calais Campbell, who is important to their D-line. But I just feel as if that you have Stafford there. Stafford's better than Carson Palmer. And ideally, you got some interesting players in the Detroit Lions, but I feel like the Lions can beat the Cardinals. Now, I know the Lions don't have a good record against playoff teams from last season. I think they were 0-6 against playoff teams. Ouch, that hurts. But the Cardinals weren't a playoff team last year. So I really got the Lions in there, and I really like what Matt Stafford's doing. Now, next one, I got the Eagles over the Redskins. Now, the Redskins, I do like watching Kirk Cousins. I do. I think Jordan Reed, he's still a quality tight end right there. They're a little bit iffy on receiver. O-line's a little bit iffy. Their defense, they have some players on it, but it's not a complete defense necessarily. I still think that they need some more players to become a great defense and to be considered to go to a Super Bowl. So I got the Eagles in this one. That front seven is great. Now you got some weapons for Carson Wentz to throw to with Alshon Jeffrey and all that. I still enjoy watching Darren Sproles as a player. I think he's good. I think that offense can roll. You're talking about a good all-line unit. So I just got the Eagles in this one. I think it's simply just because of a talent level too. Now, next one, I got the Giants over the Cowboys. Now, I just heard about the Cowboys that Ezekiel Elliott suspension has been upheld. Yes, this is good for the Cowboys because I felt as if with a 6-game suspension, the Cowboys were in danger of going 1-5. But I look at this, and I think the Cowboys are serious about going back to the playoffs. I think 10-6 sounds a little bit more reasonable. Last year, they had a fairly easy schedule. It didn't look too challenging. And I just feel as if that I just look at the Giants as a more menacing team, the better team, and I got the Giants going to the Super Bowl for the NFC, so it's a pretty easy thing. And also, one thing about the Giants is they do well against the Cowboys, especially recently. I think they beat them twice last year, so I think they're going to beat them for a third time under the Ben McAdoo era. Now, the next one, I got the Vikings over the Saints. Now, obviously, this is a revenge game for Adrian Peterson. It should be an interesting one to watch. It'll at least be fun because it's a home opener. It's a revenge game. But I got the Vikings in this one because the Saints, I'm not really impressed by their defense at all. I don't think anyone is. And then Terron Armstead, he's out for the season. And so you got this rookie, Ryan Ramczyk, who they might move over to left tackle. And they also traded away Brandon Cooks, and they kind of got Ryan Ramczyk out of it, so that was their value. I got the Vikings as one because the Vikings do have a defense, and I feel as if that there's some weapons around Sam Bradford for him to do something, and I think that it's enough to beat the Saints in this game. Now, when I look at this, if you missed any of my predictions or thought about them, just look down in the description. Just click on that. All of them are right down there. And then most importantly, one, I did not forget, guys, but I'm going to leave this one as a fan pick. We're going to do Seahawks versus the Packers. That's up to you guys in the comment section. And, oh, yeah, before I go, also, I'm picking the Buccaneers over the Dolphins simply because the Dolphins have Jay Cutler, and the Buccaneers look like they have something going with them. I'm going to leave that out, but back to the fan pick. Overall, guys, you guys can pick who's going to win this game, the Seahawks or the Packers. Comment in the description, or not in the description. Comment in the comment section, of course. Where else would you comment? And I think that'll be pretty cool. All right. See you guys next time. Peace.